someone described Parkinson's as the disease that keeps taking, the disease that keeps on taking. So, and it changes the whole time. What are your symptoms going to be? And they could be anything.
My name is Jacob Green, and I'm on a journey to find out more about Parkinson's disease. A few months ago, my aunt was diagnosed with Parkinson's at the age of 65. When I first heard the news, I didn't know how to take it. I knew that Parkinson's caused tremors, but apart from that, I was pretty clueless. I wanted to find out more about what it was going to mean for my aunt and for the family. I thought the best idea was to start by going to see my aunt in Aylesbury to find out how she's been coping.
I was okay. I thought, oh, that's a bugger, because I wasn't really expecting it. Mm-hmm. Although I'd had a shaky hand for 3 years, but when the consultant actually said those words, it was like, what? So I came home, went to work, and then for the rest of the day, and I was okay for the first couple of weeks. But then unfortunately, one of my well-meaning colleagues bought me a book about it that was terrifying, because it told you how bad it gets, and you're in a wheelchair and you're dribbling. So then I went into a steep decline for about 3 or 4 days. I really stayed in bed, and I was really scared, and I prayed a lot, and I didn't know what to do with myself. Couldn't go to work. And then I woke up the next morning and I thought, I can handle this. I don't know where it came from, but I could.
Do you feel that like your outlooks going forward have changed at all? Or?
Yeah, well, it's made me think I may retire next year, though I wasn't going to retire. But it's made me just think, life is short, and I've got to actually try and make the most of it.
Yeah, no, it's a funny one. The whole thing, it's just, yeah. I've been trying to kind of understand it, and it does just seem like what you get is what you get with yours.
Yeah, Uncle Chris says that he thinks it's a mistake. He thinks I'm wrongly diagnosed. This is my big brother, we say he's arrogant.
It was clear that my aunt had come to terms with the initial diagnosis, but it seemed like tougher times for her could be ahead. I needed to gain a better understanding of how the disease can progress, so I wanted to speak to someone that has been living with Parkinson's for a considerable amount of time. I did some research and found out that people can actually be diagnosed with Parkinson's at any age. Apparently, people that are diagnosed under 50 are considered to have young onset Parkinson's disease, or YOPD, which is a separate condition with rare disease status. I ended up in contact with Lisa and Pete, who are a married couple that live in a flat in Bournemouth. Pete was 49 when he was first diagnosed with Parkinson's nearly 20 years ago. Life has been an uphill struggle ever since.
I love the fact that he's a sitting duck, because when the first of the month rolls around and we stand around and do pinch and a punch, I have to wait for about half an hour for him to come and pinch and punch me. So I just shoot him with a dinosaur. My role as the carer is basically to anticipate. So I spend most of my energies trying to anticipate what is going to happen, what is going to go wrong, where the problem is, where the rock in the carpet is, or whatever. So I sit over here, and he sits over here, and then he goes, and I go, and then that's it, we're done.
Yeah.
Basically means go and find me something sweet to eat.
These are things you take for granted completely, don't you? I mean, who thinks about blinking or swallowing a glass of water? Don't even think twice there.
You see it a lot in Parkinson's, where the spine starts to concertina at the lumbars level, which is what happened to him basically because of the parasomnias, the periodic limb movement disorder, which is incredibly violent, and so violent that the only way to stop it was to actually hoik him onto his feet, and that would stop it, but he'd be so exhausted he would go straight out of it, because I can't keep him up, But at the same time, basically that's cost him nearly 3 inches in height. So that's how violent it is.
So the movements are actually causing his spine to
It caused his spine to start crushing.
Lower spine, my lower back.
So, when they have these lovely little, oh yes, you have periodic limb movement disorder, and you're thinking, no, he has crushing spine disorder, and the pain involved in it.
How would you describe it?
Like a very slow car crash.
Speaking to Pete and Lisa had really helped me to understand how Parkinson's can progress and what people that are diagnosed with the disease can expect. However, it left me wanting to find out more about YOPD and its differences and similarities with normal Parkinson's. I contacted Gaynor Edwards, the founder of UK charity Spotlight YOPD, who had agreed to meet me over in Lewes. After being diagnosed with YOPD at 42, Gaynor set up the charity to raise awareness of the condition. It took her a while to come to terms with her own diagnosis.
To hear those 3 words, you have Parkinson's. And it's, no, I can't have Parkinson's.
How long did it take to kind of come to terms with it all?
I don't know. Do you ever come to terms with that? Because there's still so much to discover with Parkinson's in general, but specifically young onset. So you've got Parkinson's, which is like a big umbrella of conditions. Underneath that you've got a smaller umbrella, and that smaller umbrella being young onset or YOPD. There's a lot of agendas there, unfortunately, which can muddy the waters, but if the Parkinson's world, and I mean globally the Parkinson's world, patients, researchers, neurologists, advocates, wherever they fit in, if they all work together, we can nail this thing.
My journey had come to an end. I'd managed to answer a lot of the questions that I first started with, but I found I was left with so many more. It struck me that one of the hardest parts of Parkinson's was the fact that sufferers had no real idea about how quickly their disease would progress. They just have to take each day as it comes and can't think too far ahead because they don't know what's around the corner. There also seemed to be a real lack of public knowledge about Parkinson's. I felt that most people still believe the disease would mainly just cause a tremor, but that simply isn't the case, and for some people like Pete, the reality is far tougher. I was concerned for my aunt because I now understood the graveness of her diagnosis with such a complex and serious disease, but at least now I knew a lot more about what she might face, and I could be there to help.